Hi all, welcome to the channel. I've bought this and this in Bulgaria. I'm Neil. Look at them. They're jabbing in your fingers first thing in the morning. Or the back of your leg. This is my son Chris. So come and join me and watch the highs, the lows, the good and the bad, and just generally stop him blowing us both up. Hi folks, I'm back in Bulgaria. Chris isn't with me on this trip as he decided he'd much rather spend 2.5 days in hospital undergoing surgery to have an abscess sorted out. So get well soon, fella. As you can see, we don't have sleeping policemen here. In the middle of the road, we have sleeping dogs. Just so you can see, look. If that wasn't enough, where are they? They're getting greeted. Oh, look, the happy one. Come on, bud. Yeah, he's gone. Come on, you've got to move. He's not having it, is he? He says, piss off. Come on. See, even the dogs don't rush about. A big old beast, isn't he? I get here at times at 9:10 and it's 31 degrees. So my idea of getting here early, spending a couple of hours in the cool, is not happening. So let's get out. I'll figure out what we've done with the keys. Where's the keys? Yeah. I've got this, however, I've not got enough hands, so we'll have to pause you. Right, let's take a wander up there. Let's see what's in store. We'll get through there. However, this is what happens when you don't come here for 6 months. That's seems to have all grown. So there's the house. So hopefully all this is just going to be weeds and flowers because we got all the trees out. So with a bit of luck it shouldn't take me that long to get up there. But we will see. I'll see you at the top. Right, I've cleared a space. Let's just talk you through the thought process. Right, so this is what I've cleared cleared up to the house, and I've done the other side of that as well, which we'll go in a minute. All this grass that me and Chris did last year, which is not a problem because we got the majority of the trees out, which will be the problem. This is just weeds and maybe a few new trees, but they'll cut down. Fig trees doing well. So I know I have got a fig tree watcher that views the channel, and that's come up quite a lot since we cut all that stuff down, so it's done it good. Right, this is the thought process. On the deeds, that's a house. Put my finger, this is on the deeds as a house. This is on the deeds as living accommodation. This, oh God, is on the deeds as a hay barn. This bit behind here as you can see is on the deeds as animal shelters, not fit for humans sort of thing. So I want to keep that as a house, keep that as living accommodation, and turn this into living accommodation and this into living accommodation. So there's two thought processes in Bulgaria. Do it, get fined, pay the fine, get it put on the deeds, and then for the next 10, 20, 30 years, or whatever I've got left, to be always wondering, is that going to fall down on my head? He shouldn't do, because Chris knows what he's doing. However, the problem we have is, see this crack here, that goes all the way up there as well. The problem is let's get a pointy stick. Christ, must be a bit of wood somewhere here. There we go, this'll do. This'll do. Never point with your finger. This here, this bit of wood, is what is known as the sole plate. Now this should be 6 inch above floor. There should be 2 rows of bricks underneath there. So any water that comes down doesn't go through the wood, it goes through the brick and then runs off. This has been built on a bit of a slope, so any water that's come down has just run down the slope and gone down there somewhere. Happy days. However, as you can see, let's just focus in. There we go. As you can see, there's a big crack running all the way down. So any water has run down and gone through this crack, and then come through this wall plate here. It's not been able to drain off, so it's gone straight through there, straight through the wood. And the problem is I've got videos going back 3 or 4 years and this crack was there. So I know for the last 4 years water has just been draining in there and rotting that away. However, it could be for the last 10 years, could be for the last 20 years. So the problem we have is it's not supporting the house properly, which could be the reason why up there there's a great big crack in that wall at the joint, and we've got indoor plants, which is nice. However, not really what we want. So we need to replace all that sole plate all the way along, which could mean we've got to support all the house, and we've got to dig out by hand all that. And seeing as I've already said in the video, this is a nose breaker. I'm just under 6 foot. That is all my head's an inch under the roof, so basically I'll break my nose every time I walk through there. So we need to dig this floor out and lower it, and that is solid. That is solid. Inside I've got that much, 2 inches above my head. So there we go, let's just put it that way, and you can hopefully see top of my head to there. So there is going to be my top of my head. So I'm going to be caving my skull in every time if I don't bend down. So we've hit a problem. I can tell you from my experience that is not safe to renovate for humans. So we need to get a structural engineer and an architect to design us something, the structural engineer to have a look, to say, right, these are the footings that you need to put in. These are the beams that you need to put in, because that might look alright, however, I don't think that one's up to standard. That one looks a lot better, however, these, where's my finger gone? These look okay, however, they've been open to the elements for God knows how many years. So we need to get a structural engineer in to tell us what we need to build to make that safe and up to code, and what we need foundation wise, so this thing don't fall on my head. So we need to find a structural engineer. So far I've been looking for the last 3 years for a structural engineer and architect. However, I think I found how it works in Bulgaria, because in UK, wherever you are, you look for a structural engineer in your area within 10, 15, 20 miles. And I've been looking for the last 2 or 3 years and I can't find one. However, I had a rethink of how to get a structural engineer, an architect. So I went down another track. I'm 2 hours roughly from Sofia. I've got a structural engineer coming out today from Sofia. And apparently how it works in Bulgaria is they don't just do their local town, they do the whole country, because you can get from one end of the country to the other end in, I think I'm 2 hours from Sofia one way and 3 hours from Sunny Beach, so 5 hours you can do the whole country. And the other house down south is 3 hours away, and I think to the Romanian border is an hour and a half from here, so 5 hours east to west, 4.5 hours north to south. So by the sounds of it, every structural engineer and architect, if they're happy to travel, will travel the entire length of the country. So hopefully, the structural engineer's contacted me this morning and said he's on the way. The architect contacted me last night and she's coming from about an hour away. So hopefully in the next video you'll see some people pottering about in the background doing what they've got to do. Let's get cracking, let's get this done properly.